Hey guys, Maven here, and you are somewhere in the ring.
The following podcast is scheduled for one recording with no time limit. Making their way down to somewhere in the ring, Andrew Sanford and Ryan Sprague.
This is a business podcast, right?
This is a business podcast. Yeah. I have some stocks. I actually have Warner Brothers stock.
Really?
Wow. Because when
I know that your friend Ray Fisher is in a lot of Warner Brothers things. So that's a lot of
but he does not care for them at all. You would actually be furious to hear that I had stock in Warner Brothers. But I bought a small amount when it seemed like they were going to get sold at some point.
Oh, got it.
Buddy, it has not worked out at all. That's every
it's
quarter.
All money itself. Money, like betting on money at all being a thing is risky business.
I just don't get, because you think them taking a gamble on something like Sinners would help.
Yeah.
Because it's all in the abstract anyway. People are just saying whatever to make stocks rise and fall. So you'd think that would have helped, but instead they're just like, David Zaslav's like, no, actually, we lost so much money last quarter.
It really is.
By the way, I still need my bonus. But and he said that with 5 pairs of sunglasses on his person.
All these shifts are just insane. Like the history of HBO Max is not only changing names, it's changing colors. Every time.
So lazy. It's just so.
I remember when it was purple.
Yeah. And I still remember. It's so funny to me that like that announcement came. I want to say close to. By the way, this is Somewhere in the Ring. I'm Andrew Sanford. This is Tim Barnes. This is a podcast where we talk about wrestling, but I haven't seen him in a while, and we got to riff for a minute. Yeah. It was like a year removed from Conan doing, I think, the biggest burn you could on the whole thing, which was getting on Hot Ones and saying that, we did away with that name because it was too popular. Someone had to get fired over that. And then somebody got hired and was like, what if we just go back to the thing that worked before it?
Yeah. Well, silly. Maybe it'll be HBO Go next time I'm on the podcast.
Look. If they went back to HBO Go, I would be like, that's brave, and I respect it. I think that's a point. There's a certain point where you have to admit that what you once had was beautiful. And I do remember, I feel like that was like a pretty innovative idea when it happened. Because it was like, oh, you mean we could just put our HBO stuff online and people will
now you can actually just watch regular HBO on the app. Have you noticed that?
Mm-hmm.
Like I have the cable subscription just because I have the app. Like I can watch live the programming of all the various HBO signature.
Mm-hmm. And and I guarantee you that is somebody going, because like in the streaming age of things, live entertainment is like the biggest like thing to go after right now, because it's big for ad dollars. It's the one thing that nobody can really have like full ownership of. And it's easier to get people to tune in for it. And I'm sure somebody was like, well, what if we just run our live feeds through the app, not really understanding that it's like what's appealing about like live sports or like a live roast or something, or like everybody's live in LA or live wrestling. Is not having any like FOMO or having
this is my advice to you, the entertainment industry. Mm-hmm. Just have a live channel. I shouldn't even have to click on the button for everybody's live. I should be able to click on Netflix's live comedy channel. And if you tell me what time that airs, all I have to do is click on Netflix's live comedy channel that is programmed, and maybe I'll catch the end of something else that I didn't know I would like right before I watch everybody's live.
But Tim, with that logic, it means they could program something to come after everybody's live that
how about
not know yet.
How about little things that pop up in the lower thirds to promote something, just for a brief second?
Let's not
maybe someone crosses their arms. Maybe someone crosses their arms while the title of a cool show comes up. That'd be interesting.
Yeah. But you're giving away too much on a podcast.
I clearly should be the executive. Yeah, I think that Hollywood needs an executive branch, and I think that branch looks like me.
What if you pull a what the heck is it? Boomerang, the Eddie Murphy movie where he pretends to be a white politician who just died by just using his name.
Yeah.
So what if you change your last name to Sarandos and like
Tim Sarandos? Yeah.
T. Sarandos.
Yes.
That's all they see. And they're like, oh, that wasn't
It's all everyone is not only is everyone live, everyone's suffering in Hollywood right now. Nothing makes any sense whatsoever. But
it's bleak, man.
Speaking of things changing names, when did the WWF become the WWE? That's a transition, no?
Not long after. So to set some things up for some folks, today we are talking about Drew Carey's appearance at the 2001 Royal Rumble. Something that I could not think. Tim very graciously agreed to do this podcast at the last minute, returning guest. Thank you so much.
Yes.
And I was like, what insane thing can I throw at him? That would be fun and brief because I threw this at him 3 days before. So Drew Carey appearing on the 2001 Royal Rumble, which, was WWF at the time.
Yeah.
And it must not have been that long after because it was like maybe 2002, 2003. But long story short, the World Wildlife Foundation sued them.
I remember this. Yeah.
And somehow they lost. And I still don't know how or why. I really think that like Vince McMahon kind of used it to his advantage, as he uses everything to his advantage. To like he hates the term wrestling. He doesn't like calling wrestling. For him, it's sports entertainment.
Yeah.
Like, so until he was removed from the company somewhat recently, they had to call fans the WWE universe.
Okay.
The wrestlers they maybe called them wrestlers, but they couldn't really say wrestling. They had to call it sports entertainment. And so when he went to it was WWE or World Wrestling Entertainment, it was just kind of his like, all right, finally I can move on.
Because World Wrestling Federation sounds like something from the Star Wars prequels. Honestly, sounds political. Sounds like it's chosen aside.
Newt Gunray throws down too. That being said, like Newt Gunray is handled with the same amount of sensitivity that most Asian characters are handled with on pro wrestling. So I really think you're onto something.
Has there ever been a Star Wars character on in a wrestling match?
Oh, I think I want to say. Well, there was that one. Oh, and I somebody's gonna flame me for forgetting the name. But we showed you guys a clip. You and Jim Fagan, friend of the show.
Yep.
A clip of I want to say it was called like the Stormbreaker or something, but it was a guy in like a weird bedazzled stormtrooper helmet.
Yes.
That burst through a wall. It didn't work, and they never brought it. That would be something fun to look up. I wouldn't be like super surprised. I know that they've had Hugh Jackman fight a wrestler that was dressed as Magneto before.
Okay.
They have not shied away from that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it feels like you have to do it in the right way, of course, but it would be really fun to see a Baby Yoda, fighting an adult something else.
I think if anything, you'll find more wrestling and Star Trek connections.
Oh wow! Okay. Because there's a lot of like in the original Star Trek, there is a lot of just straight up wrestling.
There's wrestling. I remember they promoted. The Rock was on. What was the one with Bakula?
That's Enterprise.
He was on Enterprise.
Yeah.
And speaking of lead-ins, when WWE was on UPN,
yes,
that episode of Enterprise aired right afterward. Which is crazy to think that they were like Star Trek 10 p.m. on Thursday nights. That's when we're gonna get our core audience. But yeah, so like The Rock was on there. Oh, I think there was one, maybe somebody in one of the newer movies too, one of the Abrams movies. But yeah, not as much connection as there should be. To be frank, I think you're onto something, or at least like have like a wrestling match in Galaxy's Edge. They're not using it anymore, or the old hotel, whatever that was.
Whatever that was. That's
like a year.
We really just it's Star Wars. Let's see some people fight. It's right there.
We actually talked about the gentleman that we were talking about today last time I saw you at your birthday party.
Oh, yes, because I watch a lot of Pluto TV. This is not an advertisement for Pluto TV. I just happen to really, really love Pluto TV. And if anybody at Pluto TV happens to be watching this, hire me to I just want to make interstitials. That's what I realized my whole life. Everything I've ever loved, I was a Nickelodeon kid. What I loved the most about Nickelodeon, the interstitials.
Yeah.
That's why I love curated television, the stuff in between the shows. It's the branding.
And it's speaking of lazy, like now it's just like screensavers.
Yeah.
Like, let's film something. Pay somebody to film something. It doesn't have to be a ton of money, but like, good Lord.
Yeah,
like have somebody animate something. There's a I'm gonna do a plug for somebody else. There's a great YouTube channel called The Channel Surfer, but it's Surf SERF. ER. Yeah, and he did a breakdown of like the rise and fall of like Nickelodeon at one point, and how monumental those interstitials were. How they would hire these animators and do all this really weird stuff.
Yeah,
that gave it character. Now it may as well just be toasters going across the screen.
Yeah, it's really weird. That's how you. I don't know. We used to live in a society, I guess, is what we're saying. But the Drew Carey show wasn't available on any streaming service. I think for decades you had to pay to watch the episodes, and then all of a sudden I'm clicking through actual channels on Pluto TV, and I'm on the sitcom channel, and I see episode. They just had a marathon for a couple weeks of the Drew Carey show, and now it's on demand there. And so I've just been churning through, and it's bringing back all these childhood memories because I haven't seen this basically since the original run, and it's absolutely fantastic. It's like finding the missing link of my humor.
But same. There are still. I remember there's a joke where there's an episode where he goes on a hunger strike. And he grabs Mr. Wicks, or not Mr. Wick. Is it Mr. Wick? Craig Ferguson.
Yeah. I forget the name.
Yeah, Mr. Wick. Yeah. Grabs his hand, holds it. He's like, "You feel that? That's a rib. I haven't felt one of those since I was 12." And I, at like maybe 14, I think I had started wrestling in high school and had lost like a little bit of weight. And my father and I have a very weird relationship with my weight. And we have a weird relationship. I mean, I probably have an eating disorder thanks to my dad.
Oh, wow.
But he said something about me having lost and I was like, "Yeah, I see that. That's a rib. I haven't seen one of those since I was 12." And he lost it. And I hooked into that feeling. It's like a core memory for me. I was just, okay, I can get like some jokes off about this.
Wait, he lost it? Wait, I don't understand.
He started laughing.
He started laughing. Okay. But I got angry. I was like, wow, my dad really wanted me to be fat. That's not what's...
He did lead into it. My nickname, I got the nickname of Heavy A from A.
Oh, wow. Yeah, well, we can talk all day about childhood weight issues. That's a big one for me too.
Just fun.
Yeah,
really fun stuff. Did you watch? Did you watch Drew Carey show?
Did I feel incredibly sad watching The Nutty Professor because I didn't realize it was a different actor? Yes, I did not realize that. I thought it was a different actor playing the Nutty Professor. And I felt very sad for him the entire time. That's why I have a deep love for the behind the scenes of things, because I want to know the truth. As a fat kid, all I saw. Maybe that's why when it was cool to not like Dave Chappelle, I was like right on board because the way he treated the Nutty Professor, not cool.
He got his though. He got his.
Yeah. Any comedian who's going to heckle someone who's going to heckle Jada Pinkett Smith. That's what happens in The Nutty Professor.
That's
Watch
right.
out. Yeah.
Wait, is it is it Jada in the first one, and then
and then it's Janet Jackson.
Are they the same character?
I don't think I don't think so. I think they just kind of yeah. What if they just made another one right now? Just make another.
I would watch. I think I am a normal human being with a sense of humor and warm blood, and I ache for more Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
He was so good in the 50th anniversary of SNL. Like at one point, I was like, "Oh my God, there's Eddie Murphy and Will Ferrell in a scene together." Like it's just. Yes, please. Like,
and we have all this technology. Like, we're in a fat suit moment for some reason. Yet we're also in the age where the Avatar movies exist. So where's the movie where we're skinnying fat actors to see how they can embody the truth of
I don't know if anybody's ever going to sign up with that for that. Because one of my least favorite.
You really embodied the skinny character there. I don't know. How did you do that? What was your thought process?
People are so quick to because Lizzo lost a lot of weight and Rebel Wilson lost weight and Josh Peck, and whenever these people lose weight, they suddenly have to defend
the choice.
Not the choice and the fact that they didn't constantly rip on themselves when they were heavier, publicly. It's this weird oh, you were all happy and proud before and now you're happy and proud that you changed yourself. What are you doing, guys?
One of my favorite things, I mean, everyone goes through a masterclass phase, right? You pay for some you're like, what I want to see what
I went through the Bobo. I went through what's the Green Josh or Hank Green and I can't remember. It doesn't matter. I did the cheaper one. I did the one.
Got it. Well, I remember I watched the Shonda Rhimes one, and then Shonda Rhimes talked about her fitness and weight loss journey, and I love the way she described it because that's how I feel about it too. She was like, it was all absolutely miserable. I hated every second of it. And I loved the level of detail. I really identified with that because I do. Mm-hmm. I personally think that exercise should be torture.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And then go.
No,
go into a torture room.
I dance in this very kitchen because I was told that I was in pre-diabetic range last year. And I started doing these YouTube videos.
That's why you avoided the cake at my birthday party. I remember.
That's exactly why. That's right. And it was one of those, and I have to go hard. I can't be oh, maybe every now and then. I'm like, no, I don't do this or that. But last Tuesday, I rolled my ankle doing it. And I was like, never again. Also, one of the biggest things about exercise they don't tell you is that you have to keep doing it forever.
Yeah.
It's forever.
Yeah. I mean, I kudos to sports for being this great opiate, this illusion that makes you feel and get endorphins. I won the exercise.
Sure.
Cool. Yeah. Whatever you got to do.
And then you say that, and we Ryan and I have a podcast where I feel better about myself. I'm in the best shape that I've ever been in my life, and and it sucks, and it's very hard. It's terrible, and I hate it. Even when I feel good about myself, then all of a sudden I'm just like, well, why don't I look like that person who's dehydrated and running around shirtless?
Yeah.
And it's literally their job to go to the gym 2 times a day. And then I'm just like, why don't I look like? Well, I'm gross. I don't look like that.
It's a vicious circle. But back to wrestling.
Back to Drew, Drew Carey, who made me feel good about being look, you can't be what you can't see. And I saw, and between him and Andy Richter, I was seeing dudes that were grown up that looked like me. And who had girlfriends and credit cards and all that kind of stuff. So it was hey, possible. Yeah. But did you watch the Drew Carey show in reruns or in the prime time run?
I watched it in the prime time. Wow. And I've just forgot it. It was just a great era for television. The level of wackiness to a lot of these episodes is insane. But I have a very vivid memory of a few shows. I remember once my dad walked past me laughing at something from Seinfeld. I was a kid. I don't even know what I was laughing at. And he asked me, do you know what you're laughing at? And I said, no. And he was perturbed by that because I don't think he really liked Seinfeld. But there's just something about it. You just kind of something about it was funny. I don't know why. And then I remember him being very confused by as I was watching, probably Mimi on the TV screen. But there was like, there is a specific sort of camaraderie if you are a nerdy, chubby kid with the Drew Carey show, where it is just like you can tell that he loved television the same way that I'm loving television right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they would just do fun, creative stuff. Like I learned, back to my father, I learned about Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh yeah, from that big
show. Oh, just an incredible like feat of television. Yeah. Of them doing a dance off between the Priscilla Queen of the Desert fans and Rocky Horror Picture Show fans. And then I said to my dad, like after I saw that, we were in the video store and I was like, oh, Rocky Horror Picture Show. And my dad, who not only thought I was fat, but also was worried that I was gay, was just like, you don't need to see that. You don't need to watch that. And like took it out of my hands and put it back on the show.
Come on, let's go watch The Nutty Professor.
No, instead he was just like, you can get this wrestling video instead where a bunch of greased up dudes are tangling with each other.
But what I love, because I in this rewatch of like even like watching that Rocky Horror episode, it's like remembering, oh, there's probably like a week of commercials building up to this. Like this week on Drew Carey, they're singing, like trying to remember.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like promos again. It like when it's like trying to find creative solutions to boring problems that exist instead, like which I don't think happens as much anymore. Now they're just like, whatever, this is the part that nobody cares about. Just let it be boring. Like the screensavers, like the interstitials, like this kind of stuff. Like to me, I love Conan O'Brien. I will sometimes just turn on the TV and it's on the Samsung like Conan channel where it's Conan clip after Conan clip, and then they'll be like, we'll be back in a little bit, and it's just Conan going like this on the screen.
Like, make something. It was a fine art. Like and a part of the art was you knew that it worked. Like you knew that it kept people engaged, and it projects your brand in a unique way. Like I feel like there's a lack of like brand voice. Really, like what is the brand? What is the voice of Netflix? It's just there. What is like there's no voice to any of them, and they all try and look the same. But there was a time where they were all vaguely blue and had a similar logo.
And because it's all algorithm nonsense too, and now they have their own algorithms, and everybody thinks that theirs is better than the other one, and instead it's just like a stream of.
But
just across the board.
The Drew Carey show and WWF/WWE have something in common, which is they both had Donald Trump cameos.
Drew Carey or Donald Trump was on. Oh wait, yes, that's right. When he goes to New York, I saw this recently. That's right. That's right. I rewatched that episode. Also, I don't know if you remember Hunter Hearst Helmsley, as he was called at the time, Triple H, who now runs WWE. Was in an episode of the Drew Carey show where he is dating Kate, and they are using him to promote their coffee beer.
Oh wow!
And he gets like
I forgot about their coffee beer and all the drug co stuff. The episode with Wanda Sykes is fantastic. Just a great episode. And near the end, they start to do very unique stuff. Like they start to do almost single cam type stuff, even though it's still, I'm assuming, live in front of a studio audience. All these like flights of fancy. It's like insane. Like it's absolutely. It's like just kind of incredible that this show ever existed.
And that it honestly, I mean, to be fair, it was incredibly popular. But it's insane to me that it's not more popular. That there wasn't like a demand to get it back.
Yeah, honestly, while watching it, we were just like, "Where's the Mimi merch? Why do I not see people all the time wearing Mimi merch?"
That is one thing. I think the Mimi and their relationship of it all is the one thing that I feel like Gen Z or maybe even millennials would have a hard time dealing with, because it's the same. People don't like that Jim was mean to Dwight, even though Dwight's a Nazi and a jerk. And people are like, pulling pranks on him. And I'm like,
people are doing the worst network notes. How do we make it more likable?
Whereas like Mimi and Drew, because they were so awful to each other constantly.
Yes.
It was kind of fun when they when they got together or when they had to team together. It felt like she felt like a true adversary, like in an interesting way. And she's just so friggin' funny. And he would have all these improv people on. And he would have these crossovers, like there would be the Whose Line Is It Anyway episodes, basically, that they would do live sometimes. And it's just so
all
much
this breaking
fun.
of the fourth wall, so many different versions of the theme song. It's just like it's just like pure joy and pure fun. Again, and then we're just going back to we used to live in a society, I guess.
Well, and then it was so fun, so popular that he was like, I am going to take these people from my show and from Whose Line Is It Anyway that people get to watch for free and put them on pay-per-view.
Yes, and that is what leads to
boom. Look at that, baby.
Yeah.
Brought it all the way around. He does his improv all-stars on pay-per-view. And who are the kings of the pay-per-view at the time? The WWF. Which Tim and I was never. I have like a core. Was it this Royal Rumble? The Royal Rumble, I think, right before this one, because I did get to see this one live. I turned. It might have been 99. It was my 10th birthday, so it must have been 99.
Yeah.
My cousin came over. We made chicken wings. It was a whole thing. Apologies to people who listen to this podcast who had to hear me tell this story before. But it was a whole night. And then it's about to get started. And it's like the thing starts at 8. It's like 7:30, 7:40. And my mom goes to try to order it. And we don't have the right cable box.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's
don't even know what that means, honestly. But we didn't have the right cable box. And so from that, and it was such a thing because these pay-per-views were like $50.
Yeah.
It was nuts. And for something that my parents didn't even love that I was watching anyway. That's WWE would be bringing in hundreds and thousands of pay-per-view buys every single month. Yeah. So Drew Carey was like, well, I'm going to head on over to WWE and I'm going to jump in the Royal Rumble. And we're going to see what happens. Are you familiar with what the Royal Rumble is at all?
It's probably a big deal. Probably, big names fighting and people get excited.
Yeah, more or less. So I think that's it is. So what it is it's a 30-person event. At the time, it was just 30 men. Now they do 2 of them. So they do a men's Royal Rumble and a women's Royal Rumble. If anybody here is yelling or hey-ying or kicking, my kids are watching Power Rangers in the other room. They just started getting into it. They're freaking out. Nice. So 30 people go in like one at a time. Like it starts with 2 and then they just in this one, it actually kind of happens a little quickly. Like more people start to come in, I think, to build up to the moment. And then the goal is to throw everybody over the ropes, and whoever's the last person in the ring gets a world title shot at WrestleMania a couple months later. Okay, that's like the
Rumble leads up to the Mania.
Exactly. And that period of wrestling in WWE is usually like some of the best stuff. It's when a lot of different storylines are coming to fruition. Like a lot of things are getting tied up. It's fun stuff. Royal Rumble, probably the most fun thing that WWE does. I will invite people over sometimes, even if they're not wrestling fans, to watch a Royal Rumble because I'm like, have a couple beers, have some bad food, and we'll just
let me ask you a question, because this is reminding me. I remember there was a controversy in the wrestling world couple of years ago when a friend of mine, Kenise Mobley, very funny comedian, she was going to be writing for WWE, but then some fans heard in a podcast that she actually doesn't know anything about it. And now you got me thinking, I feel like it'd be fun, even though I absolutely know nothing about it. And it became such a big deal that I don't think she got it. You should have her on the show, I think.
Did you hear about this? I did hear about this, and I actually listened to her recently on an episode of Blank Check, I want to say.
Okay.
Yeah. So I do remember hearing about that. It's weird. It's one of those things where I'm actually
I kind of get it. I get it a little bit, but also if Tony Gilroy made Andor, he knows nothing about it.
I mean, there is, and I am so sorry. I have not watched any Andor yet.
Oh wow,
season.
okay.
I will get into it
excellent.
at some point.
Yeah,
I know. That's why it's almost like I have to wait until I'm like not tired anymore. Like I know I want to sit down and really be engaged and really enjoy it. And even shows that I like these days, I'm just like, what just happened in that? I'm going to bed. But I agree, and I honestly think I wonder if that would happen now because they have kind of moved. I think the thing that undid that situation, if I had to guess, was that she said it on a podcast. I think if she had not said anything, it probably would have been fine. So yeah.
I mean, you kind of everyone learns that lesson in a different like. You think like a podcast, nothing kind of matters, but then the wrong people hear it. Like, what was it? Io said some shit about J-Lo, and then all of a sudden she's hosting SNL with J-Lo as the music guest, and that pops up. And I love that. That was another where like Tina Fey talked about that on Bo and Yang's. Yep, Las Culturistas, and she was like, honey, like you can't do that. And I remember people trying to come for Tina Fey about that, and I'm like, no, she's correct. At some point, you when you graduate into, and no one knows when that graduation is. The same thing with Hannibal Buress. I mean, it's a good thing ultimately what happened to Bill Cosby, but I'm sure Hannibal Buress was like, I'm just a comedian telling some jokes. He didn't think that that this would be the catalyst for this for this big movement, you know. So you never know when the
I always like I would love to work for a wrestling company. So I always like, I'm not trying to get on here unless I'm like really sure, unless I'm talking about somebody like Bill Goldberg, who we don't even have to get into who that is. Unless I'm talking about somebody where, like, I think I'll be fine. Most of the time I'm just like, I love wrestling. Wrestling's pretty great. It's pretty awesome. Love it so much. No complaints here.
It's also interesting because there are certain places where it's like, you know, even though, you know, maybe you don't want a super fan writing for the show, you know, that's not always a room full of super fans isn't what necessarily what you need, you know.
And they have that attitude with wrestlers as well. Like there's a wrestler named Bianca Belair who is one of the best wrestlers currently, male or female, and she was a weightlifter. And this wrestler named Mark Henry saw her and was like, do you want to wrestle? And she was like, I guess. And now she's one of the best.
That's incredible.
Like it happens. Yeah. Like they get flack sometimes for, because it's a similar kind of thing. We live in a world where you kind of like need your own fandom to get a job that gets fandom. But then to get that fandom, you might step on some toes, which would prevent you from getting that other fandom. But like WWE now, they'll talk about like they'll have like an introductory class of like their new like, oh, these are people that might join the company in their performance center and stuff. And it's like Instagram models and stuff. But they're just like, well, if they're already in shape and we can just train them to do what we do, then they have a built-in following that will ideally come with them and create new wrestling fans, which the business always needs.
Yeah. And we're talking about a moment where we have a president who's not a super fan of how the government works. Who knows?
Expand on that.
He doesn't know the ins and outs of that world necessarily, but he's got the job. And he said it on podcasts. Yeah,
many times. He said it at official briefings. He said it sitting in the Oval Office. They'll be like, "Well, what about this case?" And he's like, "I don't really know much about that. I haven't heard anything about that. I'm sure somebody's looking into it."
Yeah.
This morning. And the answer is probably watch the Minecraft movie or something.
Yeah.
No, he's busy. He's got stuff he's gonna do.
Yeah. Has he ever said Skibbity Toilet out loud? I bet it's not hard to get him to say it.
It'll be soon, or it'll be in all caps on Truth Social. Like it'll be one or the other. Whenever or he's gonna be in the Michael Bay Skibbity Toilet movie. Like
I just heard about that. Yeah.
Thank God. You didn't know that was in production.
Just what we need is Mr. Autobot saying, I forgot his name. What's his name?
Optimus Prime.
Optimus Prime saying "Skibbity toilet."
I don't even know what Skibbity toilet is. Like, I just
I.
don't even, not even as a concept. I'm still trying to wrap my head around John Pork. Like,
Yeah.
are you familiar?
No. But I'm assuming
Oh,
he's flies an X-wing.
Porkins and Major Eaton is that guy's other name. The only times he worked for George Lucas twice. And
Well, this is not spoiling too much, but at some point in Andor, there is an unseen character named Porco. So we hear his name, but we don't. There's a character named Porco.
No, but that's a different. That just is like.
It just means there's a lot of pork-related names in the Star Wars universe. It kind of.
I also love the idea that Tony Gilroy, who I'm sure is not going through like Star Wars encyclopedias or like click-clacking through Wikipedia as much as possible, still ended up being like, I think Porco would be. I don't know why. I think that would fit. In the
that's actually the closest thing he's gotten to George Lucas's brain was the name Porco.
John Pork is an AI character who was killed by another AI character, and it's a big like controversy in Instagram stories. It's I'm gonna send you a paragraph later that is going to make your brain melt in a bad way. So Drew Carey's in the Royal Rumble.
Yes. He's backstage. Oh, yeah.
He's backstage, and we get to see like the little setup that he basically goes and flirts with Vince McMahon's mistress, which I love. Like,
which is called a McMistress. I think this is
McMistress. Sorry, you're right. Sorry, I gotta use
Vince
the proper term.
That's a tongue twister. A Vince
McMistress.
Vince McMistress. Okay.
Vince McMistress. Oh god. Drew Carey's backstage flirting with Trish Stratus and being a big old horn dog about it, which I there's like some story that Mark Maron or somebody was on WTF with Mark Maron and told the story about how they were backstage at an event that Drew Carey was working, and they were like in a green room, and it was like after the show party time, and Drew Carey was just getting a handshake.
Oh wow.
And just kind of looked at the guy and was like, yeah, smiling, enjoying himself.
I don't know why that's not difficult for me to visualize. That's very odd.
It really isn't. Yeah. Because that whole show was about his sex life. And I think would work into his comedy as well. And what kind of works about it is he was a sex symbol, even though he wouldn't be your general definition of what a sex symbol would be. Which is why he rules, man. He's so cool. And he's back there throwing game at Drew Stratus.
And of all the celebrities who could probably go, while having that take place, he's top of the list. I can't think of anyone else I'd want to be in that dynamic with.
Drew Carey, Bruce Dern, probably. Cher. Anybody where you're just like, well, this is clearly like either a dream or like just something that I'm not going to question. Just walk out.
It's one of those things where that would happen, and I might not tell anybody about it.
Not a word. No,
it's not a status where it's like I'm absolutely like I never believe I saw Tom Cruise. So, it's because you want to be invited back. You don't want to ruin the vibe. There's a bar that I love going to when anybody is in Midtown and they're like, I want to grab a drink and they're visiting. I'm like, okay, there's a bar. I won't say which one. Yeah.
But it's in Midtown Manhattan. And I will go there because on Tuesday nights, there is usually a poker game getting played. And like one time I was sitting there with somebody I know and I'm like, last time I was here, Paul Rudd was here. Like I've met John Hamm there. I've met Dylan Baker there, like all these people. And the person kind of looked at me like, And not 4 minutes later, Paul Rudd comes rushing through the door in a suit, like marching to the back to go play poker. And then like we go back and they're like, Justin Theroux is there. Like again, Paul Rudd. And do you want to know the one that got me the most?
Well, who's that?
Richard Kind.
Wow.
Like Richard Kind was there, and I come out of
Yeah.
the bathroom and I sit, and there's Richard Kind sitting there. And in my younger days, I would try to talk to a lot of these guys, also because I was way too drunk. Now I come out of the bathroom and I walk by, and Richard Kind is sitting there, and he kind of looks up and sees me, and kind of like tilts his head up because he sees that I see him. Like he's basically going like, "Hey, what's up?" Like giving me an invitation, I think, to say something. And I was like, and just kept walking and went to the. I was like, I can't try to approach Richard Kind in public.
Yeah.
I'm sure he would have loved that.
Well, if you ever want to read a few disturbing paragraphs about being in the same space as someone having an intimate moment, I believe it's Miles Davis's autobiography. He describes being in a car with Charlie Parker and someone who is having a good time with Charlie Parker. So just something you just made a face like Dizzy Gillespie as you.
So Drew flirts with Trish. Vince McMahon not happy. Vinnie Mac not happy about it. Yeah. Oh yeah, well, how about this? How about you go? How about you wrestle tonight in the Royal Rumble? And what a far away we've come, because it was. So the next moment we see backstage is him, a little foreshadowing with him running into Kane, current mayor of somewhere in Tennessee, Glenn Jacobs, just a human. A human, I think, is a perfect description. Great wrestler. But Drew was like, yeah, I guess I'm a wrestler too tonight. And what's really fun about that is we are now at a point where Logan Paul, has held WWE title, has been a WWE champion, is wrestling in these big events, and is pushed, like, is a pro wrestler, like celebrity turned pro wrestler, and it's kind of like worked. It's hit a ceiling, definitely, but he's like, it's worked back then. It's just like it's utter disdain. Like if any time that someone that was not a wrestler would step into one of those rings, it would not go well for them, and that includes like Pete Rose got stink faced, which is where a wrestler named Rikishi, who wore a thong, would like get somebody in the ring and like rub his butt in their face.
All right.
Yes, that happened to Pete Rose.
What's your day like before a moment like that? What are you eating?
And look, if I've learned anything from the wrestler, and I learned many things, it's that there's a lot of prep going into there. I bet he washed pretty thoroughly. That's one of my favorite scenes of the wrestler is like, he goes to the tanning bed and he's like, six open, and she's like, yeah, go ahead. And then later he's like shaving his armpits and dyeing, like bleaching his hair. Just like, I love that stuff.
Yeah.
So Drew comes out, and I had kind of a Mandela moment watching this. As in I was
Mandela
thrown. Yes. No, I meant I was thrown into prison.
Okay.
No, I had a Mandela effect moment because I very clearly remember, and I can even see it in my head, that when the Hardy Boys, the first two people in the match who are in there when Drew goes into the ring, are up on that turnbuckle, that he came over and gave them like a little push.
Okay.
And that's how they fell over. But that's not what happened. They're fighting and they just kind of eliminate themselves.
Yeah.
And then Drew in his tracksuit is running around. Kane comes out.
And what's crazy, it doesn't not feel like a scene that could easily be in the Drew Carey show. The whole thing. Yeah. It's not out of the realm of possibility.
Not the slightest. I'm surprised it didn't. I'm surprised they didn't just have the cameras there just in case. What did you feel? What was your reaction to seeing this?
I found it to be very enjoyable, and I loved that. I loved how much I could see the seams of how this fight was constructed. It almost felt like I could see Drew counting to 3 when he got lifted up. But the commentary for this was top notch. Like, it's something like, I hope he's got that good SAG insurance. There's like a bunch, and then this guy starts listing all the different. Yeah, we're gonna see this on. Access Hollywood, he starts listing all these, and the number of times they say Drew Carey is very funny too. He was,
yep, they're really trying, and I respect it. They're like, look, he's helping us, we're gonna help him, like a rising tide lifts all boats kind of thing. Yeah. But I even love like Vince being like, oh, you're doing your improv show. Well, I've got a little improv. Why don't you go? And like, look, improv is a big part of wrestling.
Yeah,
That is a big part of pro wrestling. They might have like little beats. They're going to have little beats that they're going to hit, but a lot of times they're just going out there and being like, all right, what if you like, what I'll do this and you do this. And they're like, okay. And then they'll do it. And then they'll be like, all right, now you do this and I'll do it. Like, it's literally just kind of making it up on the spot a lot of times.
Yeah, that's really it. I mean, they were, I loved it. I don't know. And it's sometimes, action sequences, I forget all the details. That's my problem.
No, that's fair. There
wasn't
to sound
much. Like a deflated balloon here.
Be nice to my friend Tim, okay?
If this was the interview that led up to me writing for then I understand. If I'm describing fight sequences like this.
Drew tries to give him money, which I
love.
Yes.
Money. Yeah, there was a good joke construction within it where it's like it was definitely the Drew Carey character was in effect. Yeah.
Nailed it. Like can't turn it off. And I think at that point too, he would have even had LASIK done. So it's like the glasses, all of it. It's like that's his character, man.
Yeah. I mean, he kind of got stuck with that haircut. I don't think he wanted that haircut forever, but it became iconic for him.
And you can tell because he had to go so far in the other direction when he finally changed his hair. He's like, I'm doing shaggy and bleach blonde.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm going for.
A true everyman, Drew Carey. That's the magic of it. True.
Hey, look,
Cleveland everyman.
Yeah. One last thing, fun little side note about this is even though his time in WWE was brief, Drew Carey was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame.
Really?
Just for this moment. Yep. Yeah.
Incredible. How rare? How many people are in this Hall of Fame?
Oh, it's not. It's full of people. Not as many celebrities, though.
Okay, that's interesting.
There's definitely wrestlers in it. There's been criticisms of it because there's not like an actual building.
Yeah.
But that criticism usually comes from dudes who like clearly weren't asked to be in it and are salty about it. I think now they get like a big old ring, like they get a huge $10,000 huge.
So does Drew Carey have this ring?
I don't know. I feel like they must have sent it. I wish I didn't look up when he was inducted. I just know that he was. But the ring's only in the last years.
I think he's fairly active on social media. If we don't have the answer online, we should just
that's
see what
he one of my favorite things about him, his like social media. 2011, so a while ago.
Okay,
yeah, definitely, yeah. That might have even been early days of them doing these Hall of Fame ceremonies. But I love that he just now like will host a Sirius XM show.
Oh, really? Yeah.
He's like, I'm just playing music that I like. Like that's it.
Yeah, there's like footage of him like DJing at like parties and stuff. And I know that he's really, really into fish. I love all of his tweets about fish.
Yes,
fantastic.
That was really incredible. And he also like I got a lot of my musical taste from him. On that show because he would have all kinds of
there's a lot of like good funk. Yeah, it was like a good good
funk, and then there would still be I wish I could remember who's saying it. I'm just gonna look it up real quick. But the song "Working in a Coal Mine," which I have on my phone, by Lee Dorsey. When Lee Dorsey passed, I believe it was. They even have a moment at one of the end of the episodes where it's just him and the cast crossing the street, working in a coal mine, going down, like just to honor, like, he's just the coolest, man.
It really is.
The coolest.
There isn't enough stuff about the making of that show. Trust me, I've looked for all of it. There's some interesting stuff, but there's not enough. I need to know everything. Man.
Like I would self-finance a documentary about that. That is just so I could get a chance to like talk to Diedrich Bader or Ryan Stiles or anybody that was on the show. Like, it's crazy.
And the Drew Carey trip down memory lane also took me back to his Tonight Show premiere, which is recognized by many as one of the greatest late night sets of all time. And it really is. Like he skyrocketed to fame specifically because of this. And there was a crazy journey that led up to it. because he was someone had backed out like a couple of years before that, and they kept trying to call him before cell phones were a thing. So he wasn't home, and he missed this opportunity to to perform. And then he started. I think he hit the road. He had a breakup and like really did the road heavy, and then got a solid set of material, and then the rest is history. It's like a fantastic set. Yeah,
that's amazing. Yeah, there's one joke I remember. Is that the one that has the joke? I'll speed in the rain just so cops have to pull me over. He's like, they pulled me over. The cops having to stand out in the rain, and he's just like, over. He's like, yeah, you know why I was speeding?
Yeah. And I might be mistaken, but I think that he was one of the people in the running to take late night after Letterman left late night to go to CBS. I think he was one of the people in the mix. I remember hearing that one time, but I kind of forgot it. Like it might be like a Mandela effect in my head, but I think that he was one of the people on that list.
Wow, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
I get if Conan O'Brien, it's someone who nobody knew.
Like, I know. In fact, it might be so wrong. He might have been one of the people who was considered for the Tonight Show. I forgot there's like a few. That was like I don't know, one of those, either Tonight Show or Late Night. He was one of the people in the mix for that, which is funny to imagine. But I think he definitely has the chops for that. And what's crazy about that, if this is true, because I might be making this up, but that Craig Ferguson ended up hosting a late night show. Craig Ferguson, his boss of the show. So it's amazing. Yeah. He
got the original Letterman spot too. The one that is now after midnight, and after midnight ends, it will be interstitials. I think that's just gonna be
it'll be ghosts with a laugh track. Yeah.
It'll just be a ghost light. Like it'll just be a ghost light on a stage, nothing else. Or they'll bring back the Native American, like it'll just go for an hour, telling you that the network is closed. Tim, I know you gotta run.
Yep.
So thank you so much. If people want more of you, where can they look? And they should.
You can go to timbarnescomedy.com, or where you can find a link to my newsletter, Letters from African America, which you can find at timbarnescomedy.substack.com.
Mm-hmm. I always know if I get a notification on my phone at like 11:03, I'm like, "Oh, Tim Substack is here."
I emailed 5 jokes every day by 11 a.m. Eastern.
Yeah, so, they're blessed.
Thank you. Yeah, this one I know it had a spelling error, but that's how you know I'm human. That's how you know I'm human.
Damn right.
100% non-AI human grade jokes coming to your email. I am youthful and I am fun.
Yeah. Dagnabbit. And only
so
useful
subscribe
and fun
to my
people say
emails.
That. Yeah. As always, you head to patreon.somewhere in the ring if you want to support the show. We would appreciate it greatly. Somewhere in the Ring on YouTube. Come find me dropping wrestling takes at Half White Son of a Black Man on TikTok. That's a thing that I've been getting into lately. So look, come on by, listen to the show. Tim and I have a short film that I wrote that he co-directed and starred in called Chemistry Test. I talk about it every episode. So
nice.
Always. That's how I end every episode. I'm like, go watch Pay the Tithe on Vimeo or go watch Chemistry Test on YouTube.
Nice.
Please do it up. Give us that attention. Tim, thank you so much. As you know, when we end the show, we have somebody ring the bell. If you could, whatever that means to you, ring the bell. It doesn't have to be an actual bell, and send us home. Yeah. Caroline's. Is anything where Caroline's used to be yet?
Oh wait, Caroline's is closed?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that was a victim of the pandemic.
Damn. Well, we can tell that I'm young and youthful and fun.
Also right, and
up to date and hireable.